The city streets were quiet, but inside Jordan's car, everything felt loud. His heart was beating fast. His hands held the steering wheel tightly. He was sweating. The digital clock on the dashboard showed 10:42 p.m. He pushed the gas pedal harder. Just a little more. Just hold on, he whispered to himself. Jordan wasn't trying to break the law. He was trying to save a life. His niece, Layla, only 6 years old, was at home, alone. She had a serious asthma condition. Her breathing could stop at any moment if she didn't get her inhaler in time. Her mother, Jordan's sister, was stuck in another city due to a traffic accident. There was no one else. Just Jordan and Layla. Then suddenly, flashing red and blue lights lit up behind him, police sirens. Jordan looked in the mirror and felt his stomach drop. No, not now. Please, not now. He couldn't stop. He couldn't waste time explaining. Layla was waiting, and she was running out of air. He hit the gas even harder, hoping to reach her house before it was too late. The sirens got louder. Now there were 2 police cars chasing him. His phone rang. It was his sister, crying on the other end. Jordan, she's not answering my calls. I think she's getting worse. Please hurry. I'm on my way, Jordan said, trying to sound strong, but he felt like breaking. He looked back again. The police cars were closer. One officer spoke through the loudspeaker. Pull over immediately. Jordan knew if he stopped now, they would make him lie on the ground, search his car, ask questions. Minutes would be lost. Minutes that could kill a little girl. He made a hard right turn. Tires screeched. He took a shortcut through a back road. He wasn't a criminal. He didn't have any weapons. His only crime was desperation, but the flashing lights didn't stop. In the police radio, an officer said, "We have a speeding black male, late 20s, driving recklessly. Possible flight. Proceed with caution." No one knew the truth. They didn't know about Layla. They only saw what was in front of them. A black man speeding through the night. Jordan's thoughts raced. Would they shoot? Would they tackle him? Would they even believe him? He saw his niece's little face in his mind, her smile, her laughter, the way she always called him Uncle Jojo. He couldn't let her down. He couldn't let her die. Another turn. Now the road was narrow. His car tires bumped over potholes. Suddenly, a dead end. Jordan hit the brakes. His car skidded to a stop just inches from a wall, then screams, "Step out of the vehicle! Hands where we can see them!" Jordan raised his hands slowly and opened the door. Blinding lights hit his face. Guns were pointed at him. He dropped to his knees and shouted, "She can't breathe! My niece! She can't breathe!" But the officers didn't hear it. All they heard was noise. All they saw was fear. They moved in, ready to arrest him. Jordan closed his eyes. This was not how the night was supposed to go. He was not supposed to die like this, and neither was Layla. But in the middle of all the shouting, a phone began to ring. It was inside the car. The ringing echoed through the silence. The lead officer paused. He reached inside carefully and picked it up. He pressed answer. A small, scared voice came through. "Uncle Jojo, I can't breathe." The officer froze. Everyone around him went quiet. Jordan looked up, eyes wide. "That's her," he said, tears falling. "That's Layla." In that one moment, everything changed. The man they thought was dangerous was just an uncle, trying to save the only family he had left, and they had just wasted precious minutes. Now it wasn't just about arresting a man, it was about saving a child's life. And time was running out. Jordan's knees pressed hard against the cold asphalt as officers surrounded him, their guns still pointed, their eyes sharp and full of tension. "Get on the ground! Hands where we can see them!" One officer shouted again. Jordan's breath came fast and heavy, but his voice was clear. "Please, you have to listen. My niece, she's inside the house. She's having an asthma attack. I'm the only one here to help her." but no one lowered their guns. No one moved back. The officers didn't know what to believe. All they saw was a man who had run from them, who had ignored their commands. One officer moved closer, his hand reaching for the handcuffs on his belt. Jordan's heart pounded louder than ever. He tried to stay calm, but panic rose inside him. Like a wave. "Please," Jordan begged. "I'm not dangerous. You have to help me. My niece is dying." The ringing phone inside his car kept sounding. One officer glanced toward the car. "Hey," he said. "There's a phone ringing in the vehicle." The lead officer stepped forward and carefully opened the driver's door. He picked up the phone and answered it. The faint voice of a small child came through the speaker, shaky and scared. "Uncle Jojo, I can't breathe. Please help." The officers all froze. The cold night air felt heavier. The tension in the air shifted. No one moved. Jordan's eyes filled with tears. The officers looked at each other, their faces softening. One officer lowered his gun slowly. Another officer nodded toward Jordan. "We need to help," the lead officer said quietly. Jordan wiped his tears and nodded. The officers helped him back into his car. They got in behind the wheel, switching from hunters to helpers. The police radios stopped calling him a suspect. Now they called for an ambulance, but there was no time to wait. "Drive. Hurry," Jordan said, gripping the seat. The police car sped away, lights flashing in. The dark night. Every second was precious. The officers asked for directions. Jordan's voice shook, but he gave them clear instructions. "Turn left here, then right at the next street. She's in the blue house with white trim." The officers listened carefully. For the first time that night, Jordan felt hope. He wasn't alone anymore. There were people ready to save Layla. But the question remained, would they reach her in time? The police car rushed through the dark streets. The sirens screamed loudly, cutting through the silence of the night. Jordan sat in the back seat, his hands gripping the seat tightly. He stared out the window but saw nothing. Only the image of Layla's scared little face in his mind. The officers drove fast, but Jordan could feel every second slipping away. Suddenly, the lead officer's radio crackled. "Ambulance is 10 minutes away. ETA might be too late," came the voice. Jordan's heart sank. "No," he whispered. "She can't wait." The police car turned onto a quiet street lined with small houses. The blue house with white trim came into view, just as Jordan had said. "Here it is," Jordan said, voice trembling. The officer stopped the car near the curb. Jordan jumped out and ran toward the door, his footsteps loud on the pavement. He pulled out his phone again and dialed his sister's number. No answer. His sister's voice had been the only comfort, and now even that was gone. Jordan pounded on the door, shouting, "Layla! It's Uncle! Jojo, open the door!" There was no reply. He knocked harder, panic rising in his chest. The officers approached, standing behind Jordan, ready to help. One officer tried the doorknob. It was locked tight. "Do you have a key?" he asked. Jordan shook his head. "No, she has the only key." "All right," the officer said. "We're breaking it down." With a powerful kick, the officer smashed the door open. The house was dark and silent. Jordan's heart pounded in his ears as he stepped inside. "Layla!" he called softly, moving through the rooms. Then he heard a faint cough. He rushed toward the sound and found her, lying on the floor, gasping for air. Her tiny chest rose and fell quickly, her skin pale. Jordan's eyes filled with tears. He dropped down beside her. "Layla, breathe," he said softly, taking her hand. One officer radioed for paramedics, explaining the situation. Another officer searched quickly and found a small backpack. Inside was Layla's spare inhaler. Jordan took it and helped her use it. Minutes felt like hours. Layla's breathing slowed. Her eyes blinked open. "Uncle Jojo," she whispered weakly. Jordan smiled, relief flooding his heart. The officers looked on. their faces softening. This was no longer about a speeding suspect, it was about a child's life, and together they had made it possible to save her. The ambulance arrived with flashing red lights and a loud siren, breaking the stillness of the night. The paramedics rushed inside the house, carefully taking Layla from Jordan's arms. Jordan watched nervously as they worked quickly, checking her breathing and heart. One paramedic spoke softly. "She's stable now, but she needs to get to the hospital right away." Jordan nodded, feeling a mix of hope and fear. The officers stayed close, their usual stern faces replaced by concern. The lead officer approached Jordan quietly. "Sir," he said, "I'm sorry for how this started. We should have listened sooner." Jordan looked at him, pain and gratitude mixing in his eyes. "It's okay," Jordan said. "I just wanted to save her." The officers helped load Layla into the ambulance. Jordan got in the front seat, holding tightly to the thought that his niece would survive. As the ambulance sped away, Jordan looked back at the police officers standing by the broken door. He realized that sometimes things are not what they seem. Sometimes fear and misunderstanding can turn good people into enemies. But when the truth comes out, there is a chance for change. The night was still dark, but now there was a small light of hope, and Jordan knew that no matter what happened next, he would never stop fighting for Layla, because family was everything. The ambulance sped through the city streets, weaving past cars and red lights. Inside, Jordan sat beside Layla, holding her tiny hand gently. Her breathing was still weak, but better than before. The paramedics worked quickly, checking monitors and giving her medicine. Jordan kept whispering softly, "Stay with me, Layla. You're strong. You can fight this." The city lights flashed outside the window, but inside the ambulance, time felt frozen. Every breath she took was a victory. Jordan's phone buzzed quietly in his pocket. He looked down to see a message from his sister. "Thank you for saving her. Please keep her safe." His heart ached. He wanted to be stronger for her, for Layla. The paramedic next to him spoke gently. "She's doing well so far, but she needs oxygen and more treatment at the hospital." Jordan nodded, trying to hold back tears. He never thought a simple drive to her house would turn into this nightmare, but now, surrounded by strangers with flashing lights and sirens, he felt a strange kind of peace. He wasn't alone anymore. The police officers who had stopped him, they were no longer threats. They were part of this story now, people who saw the truth and chose to help. Jordan took a deep breath. No matter how hard the road ahead might be, he was ready to face it, for Layla, for family, for hope. The hospital was bright and busy, a place filled with hope and worry all at once. Jordan followed the paramedics through the halls, holding Layla carefully in his arms. Doctors and nurses moved quickly, taking Layla to a small room. Jordan waited outside, pacing back and forth, his heart heavy with fear. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, a doctor came out. "She's stable," the doctor said gently. "The inhaler helped, but she'll need to stay here for a while so we can watch her." Jordan nodded, relief washing over him. He thought about everything that had happened, the speeding, the police, the broken door. It all seemed like a distant nightmare now. One of the officers was there too, standing quietly in the corner. Jordan looked at him and said, "Thank you for helping us." The officer smiled softly. "We should have believed you from the start. I'm sorry." Jordan's eyes filled with tears. "It's okay. What matters is she's safe." The nurse came in and placed an oxygen mask gently on Layla's face. Jordan held her hand again, whispering, "You're going to be okay." In that small hospital room, surrounded by strangers who cared, Jordan felt hope. For the first time that night, he believed everything would be all right, because sometimes when people listen and help, Even the hardest moments can turn into new beginnings. Days passed slowly at the hospital. Jordan stayed by Layla's side, watching her sleep and slowly get stronger. The police officers visited too, bringing flowers and apologies. They wanted to make things right. Jordan saw something change in them, a new respect and understanding. One afternoon, the lead officer sat beside Jordan. "Look, we made mistakes," he said honestly. "We judged you too fast, but that night changed us. We saw the real story." Jordan nodded. "It's not just about rules or mistakes, it's about people, family, life." The officer smiled softly. "You saved your niece. You reminded us all what really matters." Jordan looked at Layla, now smiling and playing with her toys. He felt tired, but hopeful. The night of sirens, fear, and pain was behind them. Now, there was only love and healing. Outside the hospital window, the sun rose slowly. A new day had begun, for Jordan, for Layla, and for everyone who learned to see beyond fear. Because sometimes the hardest moments bring the greatest changes. And in that change, there is hope.